Lydia, your work is so powerful and so awesome. You know, one of the really fascinating things about you, Lydia, is that you were a practicing architect.
Yes,
for a number of years. Were you practicing in Buenos Aires, or did you bring that practice to Canada and then carry on in architecture in Canada for a little while?
Yes. So I got my degree in architecture from the National University of Buenos Aires, and I came to Canada with both, having the architecture and having the artistic practice, because after working as an architect, I had a chance to study art with Kenneth Campbell, who was a master in Buenos Aires. His work is everywhere. And he introduced the informalist movement, movimiento informalista in Buenos Aires. So I had the pleasure to study with, the honor, not the pleasure, to study with him. And since then I had a conflict now what to do. So when I moved to Canada, I came with both careers. So I had also my portfolio in the arts and as an architect, but you can work as an architect, right? So I worked for a year, but then because my life also changed at that moment, so then I said, okay, I think my passion is in the arts. It's going to be easy to raise even my kids with the arts instead of long hours in architecture. But I'm so grateful to have studied that, because it gave me a broad spectrum of knowledge that I can really put together and into my art, right?
So this piece in particular, it's called Remembering the Acropolis. And so obviously there are many aspects of that architectural feeling. I mean, your Ionic columns, it looks like beautiful pottery. Please tell us your feeling about this.
Introduction of that there's a parallelism between the way I process information, the way I design.
Sure there is, yes.
As an architect and as an artist. In architecture, we start with the partie, is the main conceptual idea. And I, for example, do a rough sketch, right? I collect all the information and I look at all the layerings, the relationship between the inside and the outside, functions of the space, and for example, and the selection of materials. So nothing is random, right? In the arts, I do the same. Although there's a lot of subconscious elements that you put while you're painting, I start from the same idea of what is the subject that I would like to talk about. Sometimes I write about it. So once I write, then I see words that are important, and I try to find the right visual elements to describe those words. As I'm doing that, maybe I do a rough sketch, so that's process, right?
Yep.
Very rough sketch, and I said, okay, based on this idea, based on these words, based on what I want to talk about, through the art, I divide the space in this way. Sometimes you have balance of lines. There's a central part. Now, this painting, for example, I'm talking about balances of forces. There's elements of design, elements of architecture, because it came from a trip to Greece, which was so important for me after studying Greece so much.
Oh my gosh,
right?
Yes. Oh yes.
So I learned even more about the history. I went into the Acropolis, and then I reflected about, wow, so much destruction, so many changes, and still the Acropolis, you know, it's just they renovated and it's up. It's standing there. Still. So I was thinking about, see, I'm bringing here as well moments of me as a person, as coming from Buenos Aires, moments when difficulties arise, right? But you still get out from the ashes. There's rising from the ashes. So in this a specific piece, I wanted to work first with the first element, that was the deity. Was represented as as a woman, because all the Greeks, the deities, they were
feminine, female, yes.
Female or masculine, but they were very humanized.
Yes, yes.
So I thought about, not completely clear, but is the body of a woman. You see the shoulder there coming from the rocks, attached to certain elements that they're reminiscence. Thank you. Reminiscence from the past, which is elements that they are not standing, because I'm talking about probably destruction at a certain point. And these elements of architecture balanced, because of the shape. I was thinking about the balance of forces I was saying before, and energies. This is more masculine energy, is the strength. Right?
Well, that would be to the contrary of what I would think, the feminine versus the masculine, that aspect of strength versus weakness. This is a work full of contrast.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
But I see women with a lot of masculine energy in terms of the strength and the force. The feminine energy for me is more about the reflection, calm, the spiritual part. Although women were so strong, I put a lot on in that character. Actually, I'm seeing myself there.
Wow.
After so many moments in my life that I have to be strong and be mom and dad at the same time.
Wow.
Right? So the woman is attached to the shell, so it's the ionic column, but it's also that shell, it's reminiscence of water, it's reminiscence of the feminine.
Right.
And we're both, right?
Wow.
So yes, so this painting is for me, it's a message of never give up. There's still possibilities to keep growing, to keep racing, and it's a rebirth. To me, it's another
There's
rebirth.
a lot of that in your paintings, Lydia. Rebirth, hope, rejuvenation, rising from the ashes. Transformation, right.
And there's a process, and that process, because nothing comes immediately.
Right.
And that is another, the idea of process and bearing the process is part also of my culture, in the sense that you can't go from A to B in one shot. You have to be creative to be there.
Oh, beautiful. Well said.
Right?
Well said.
And the same I have with the process in my work, because I'm solving things. I'm understanding things. In mine, it could be general for the collective. And I always teach even my students, it's not about the end result. The end result is at life. The end result is part of the process. We salt and enjoy the process.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for talking about this painting in particular. It is for sale here in the Alton Mill.
Yes,
so if
thank
people
you.
are particularly interested in purchasing this, or any of Lydia's work for that matter, we will make sure that your website gets posted, Lydia, so that people can find you and get this work into their home.
Yes, there
Right?
you go. Yes,
There we
thank
go.
you.
So thank you.
Thank you, Joanne.